Forever Home channel. On this platform, we discuss all things related to Ghana and Africa. Our real estate company, Royal Consulting Solution, is the foremost location for all your land acquisition, building needs, relocation, and starting a successful business in Ghana. We also provide quality information through our consultation and webinar series. We can be reached at royalconsultingsolutions.com. Come join the trusted source for all your reliable information. Hello. Everyone, thank you. Saturday, usual time. Hopefully, you guys can join the conversation and then maybe be able to answer some of the questions that you have in pertaining to everything, regard to Africa, Ghana in general, and how you can live and thrive and start your businesses, build your homes, and be able to um, create opportunities for yourself and others. We started the series, but what is it? I think this is episode 4, I believe, on the moving back to Ghana episodes and the sequence. I think that I may, it doesn't have to be exactly perfect, but I think so far it's good. Okay. We started with the preparation, right? And then we move on to the visitation and then the financial commitment, right? And so now we're going to tackle into finding accommodation. Everybody check in if you're there. Emilia, Fori, thank you for joining. So let me know if you have some questions pertaining to this topic or anything in that aspect. So you decided, you want to make the trip, for different reasons. There's not a uniform reason why people go back. It's a myriad of factors, right? And so you've done the preparation in terms of what you need, and you've done the visit. If you're not, even if you're born there, I'll suggest still visit. Right, things have changed. If you live there 20, 25, 30 years, it's not the same country as you left it. So go back, reassess, and then so the visitation will give you a lot, a lot. You may have to visit a couple of times. After that, you can watch the video last week about financial preparation. So now we talk about another big aspect, right? Hello, Andy, which is accommodation. Accommodation is very, very, very important. And where you live or where you choose to live must work for you now and also into the future, because in the future it's just going to cost more money to build the same house that you've built many years ago, right? So accommodation is really, really, really important, and there's a lot of consideration that needs to go in. Hi, Eve. Thank you. And also, we have a real estate company, Forever Home, uh, in regards to everything that we do in Ghana, per se. I'll put a link down there. You can check our website with questions with land acquisition, building, everything from the ground up to when you move in. We have the expertise that we provide as a service, great quality service though. And so we have that aspect. So utilize that services. Okay. So now accommodation, right? So accommodation, you start looking, and primarily is going to be two things you're going to end up selling with, which is, do I rent, lease, right, or own, right? Own could be, should I buy a house up front or build one? And there's a couple of reasons. Some people just want to be able to build their own house, have their own imprint, design exactly how they want, and but it also has its own. If you're working with the wrong people, can be frustrating to almost catastrophic to that extent. So some will say, okay, let's buy, and then when you buy, also too, you might not get exactly what you want for the money that you want to spend, or also you know you may not meet your needs down the road. Okay, so these questions are very important. Then when you lease, you're renting, you have to figure out the neighborhood, right? And rent increases in Accra is a historical high. It's going almost by the month to month, right? Even the laws that have been put in place is now working because people are doing whatever they want. So then you have to deal with the landlord and basically feeling like you're a child, right? So there's a couple of things that you have to. Now, if you want to rent or own or build, then you have to look at it for okay, location, right? Location becomes the most important thing factor, and then cost being second. So the location must also work for you for now. In the future, maybe you want to be able to have a business that maybe you can run from the house or proximity to the business. And so that means that you are kind of like located in a specific location because you don't want to go too far out. And I suggest if you run a business in Ghana, you must show up at the business every day if you want it to go well, right? And so you have to look at that. And sometimes it's a balancing act because where you want to be can be really expensive. And so, coughing out a 50, $60,000 a plot is insane. I know. Um, maybe a lot of money is a lot of money. But then looking at it from okay, if I'm able to pay this amount and then the location is great and I can establish this business here over time, it would have been a fraction of how much I put into that stuff. So there's a lot of stuff to factor in, and that's one of the things that we do when we come to consultation. We figure this thing in depth and trying to get you some ideas so you can make the right decision. Okay. So then once you have that, so then you have rental and home ownership, right? You got to think about the pros and cons, what it means to own. I think owning is the best route. I think there's all, you can maximize your freedom. You can use it as an asset. It is an asset. Can be transferable to future generations or stuff like that. If something happens and you decide Africa is not for you, you can sell it, come back, and that kind of stuff. And so, but sometimes when you go in there, people feel like you have to rent, and then build from there. It only makes sense to me if your income has not changed. Let's say if you move down there and you are able to retain your employment and you are working from remote and you're getting paid the same amount of money, then you can rent for that short period of time and then build as you go, because then you can be on the ground. But if your income changed drastically and you move down there, then building from there on a limited or reduced budget, can put you in a lot of constraint. So the question is, should you buy or build one before you move? And how much you should expect to spend? I like if you guys will click the like button and subscribe and share, and stuff. I really appreciate it. So then people can get the information as well. Okay. Here's a website to visit us for in-depth discussions and so get you going. Okay. All right. Smash the like button, please. Thank you. All right. So the consensus, and I agree with this consensus in that preferably if you can build something before you finally move, that would be ideal. That would be the consensus thought. Because this is the consensus also agree that for most people, not all of them, for most people, you're probably going to make more money outside Africa than or you have the opportunities to make money than in their respective countries. And so if you can make the money here, sometimes you might even get a secondary job and take that secondary employment as a way to fund these projects, right? And so the consensus is that build something. I mean, once you've decided, okay, this is it, I'm going to go for it, I'm going to move. Consensus is get something. Now, Mansion or or like a smaller. I'll use this term smaller home. It no, it depends. It depends. If it depends. I would say that do the mansion thing if you have the money, a lot of money, that is not going to affect your retirement. It's not going to change your lifestyle drastically. Um, or you can make that money back. What you put into the house can be made back in about 5, 6 years. Other than that, build something that's going to be comfortable. And I'm all over layout, oversized, because the monthly budget for maintenance on my house is a lot of money, to maintain that house. And so you have to factor that thing in as well. Okay. Why are price of renting so inconsistent? Well, it's difficult to get a uniform pricing based on location. It's just price gouging, right? So just like how land is, somebody will find out that their neighbor is renting for maybe 2,000 CDs. Then all of a sudden, he's renting his for 500 CDs, even though the building is not comparable. The next the next time that is due for renewal, then he or she wants to charge 2,000 cities, right? You also have certain African, I don't know if it's a bad thing. If you're a landlord, then it's a good thing. I also know that the Nigerians, when they come in, they bring the money so they can pay. They'll pay if it's 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 cities a month. They will cough that money. It's not a big deal to them. And so if you're a landlord, that's awesome. But if you're a renter, you don't like that, right? Because that means your price about to go up. And so and this thing is pushing a lot of people into other regions outside Accra. A lot people are moving to Central because of rent, right? So you have the land pushing people out, and now rent is doing that. And so and we know for a fact too, it's like the rent stuff can be problematic, especially when some amenities break down. You trying to get a landlord to remedy that. It can be sometimes a struggle, right? Or sometimes they'll be like, okay, just you pick up the cost and I'll deduct that from your next renewal or whatever, some kind of deal. But then the next renewal, he or she's going to jack up the price because they know they have to deduct something. So when in doubt, build something, um, build something very well, and then so I'm all about you know putting the size these mega homes unless you got it like that, pull back, do your 4 bedroom layout, nice layout, good design, and then it will work nice. I have this 6 bedroom, and most of the time it's not being occupied, but um so that is the one thing you have to factor in. So another one is I think legally they should. I think sometimes it's just enforcement, but think about it this way: even if it was not, you know, legally enforced or suggested or policy, one would hope that if you are building a house, you need to have a bathroom. I mean, and kitchen. I mean, it's just even animals have place designed for that. So don't like it is mind boggling if you build a house without a toilet. To me, is just is so much insane. I don't even want that kind of person around me because I mean it's just ridiculous, right? But some people build without that, and it's really not a lot of money to do it. Really not a lot of money to do it. So they can take a yearly rent of one of these places and do it. So but they don't do it. You know, for some reason they don't do it. But and I think they're getting away with it, right? And so it makes it like if you go to a places, that they have toilet in the facility and all that stuff, that becomes almost like a luxury. Isn't that crazy? Uh, Jeremiah, thank you very much. Really love it. Yes, guys, please subscribe to the Bravo Podcast on my other channel. We go live Wednesdays and Friday evenings, and we have some great discussions over there with a panel. And so, subscribe to that. Take what you need, and then move your life forward. That's all I care about. Okay. Thank you for joining. Share these videos, please. Share these reviews. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. So all these things becomes a factor, right? Becomes a lot of factors that people have to consider stuff with that. So now rental cost, and then I'll come back to Jeremiah, your question below. Rental cost is very, very inconsistent. Is jacking up all over the place. Even um the own kind of like, so every country you have your prime locations which are expensive everywhere, but then you have your middle and then the lower, even the lower places which we will call like where the poor people, even is like is the prices are just going out ridiculous. So I don't know, there's rent control in Ghana when the government is trying to maybe stabilize the rental uh you know prices, and maybe making sure landlords are following some rules in terms of eviction, and how to when to pay back deposit and that stuff. Some places are efficient, some places not. So for me, why go through all this mess? Just even if it's a two-bedroom, build get something with a peace of mind. Okay. Can cost over 100,000? See, I'm currently in that portion alone cost me that. Yeah. I'll give you mine. So let me do the breakdown. What is it? Do quick calculation. So what is it? 100,000 CDs right now would be what? Dollar is six, 1 to 6 ratio. So what is it? 16,000 and change, right? Um, depend. Can it cost more than that? Way more, way more. I paid for mine. I paid. Um, Granted, I built some block work. So even if I take away the labor for the block work, I'm about I'll put about 23, 24 thousand dollars for my decking. So decking, if it's done well, and also remember too, iron rods has gone up, cement has gone up the last couple of months. So that is also factoring. But decking is one of the most expensive part of the project. Okay, the most expensive part of the project will be the finishing. After that, decking. The decking done well, super super done well with a solid materials and executed well by um, great team with making sure the beams are sized, the openings with the engineers and stuff like that is going to be more than foundation, right? Or about even, right? But chances are it's going to be more than foundation. So, and sometimes, people, they will charge you all right, but they don't deliver. So for me, our team is, listen, we're not the cheapest, but we're gonna give you the best that you can find at a price that is also reasonable. But it's not going to be apples for apple. Uh, Ain't nobody you. It's not going to work. So can that cost much? Yes, it can cost that, and plus more. Plus more. So think about it. I did Kaswa decking was maybe 7 years, 6 years ago, and that cost me like $22,000 around that time. But That house is twice the size footprint as this one, and I'm paying about that. So it's about 50%, right? So yes, it can cause that. You don't want to be playing with labor on that stuff. You want that to be done well because structure integrity is very, very important when you are doing the decking. So you want to make sure it's done well. They are not using the wrong iron rods. We have changed our requirement a little bit. We have increased some of the sizes with engineers. We started and said, listen, uh, granted, there is a minimum, but the minimum is not cutting it. So we have moved away from traditionally the size of iron rods that people use, and we bump it up to the next size. Okay. So yes, Jeremiah, it can cause that. That's a good question. Affordable homes. Affordable homes compared to who's affordable to? Is it a local or the diasporan? And so even if it's $50,000, let's say two-bedroom, $50,000, it's not gonna be build quality because you can't do it. You really can't. Even if you don't pay labor. Let's say it was free labor, slavery. You couldn't get a two-bedroom top notch for 50. You just couldn't do it. So let's say they come out with 50. We kind of know what they are doing to get to that number, and it's not the quality is not there. So they do 50. The average Ghanaian will still not be able to afford it. The only way people are able to afford it, how they are doing right now, is basically the company will have some kind of mortgage system, and these people have reliable jobs that they can pay the mortgage using the house as collateral. So let's say, think about it this way: if it's 50, you pay 20,000, it's left with 30,000, and something happens, you default, you lose the house. These rental agreement, this purchase or mortgage, people, you must be careful and read the fine print. And getting a loan in Ghana to me is no, 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 no. It's a no, no, because you're gonna, when the collateral comes, they're gonna take all the things that's not even in the collateral as well. I've seen people lose their homes from from a five-bedroom home to the street because they took a bank loan. So to me, unless you are connected and you can pay, you don't do that. So even if they say affordable, it's not really affordable for a lot of people because they don't even have the cash. Most people are living from hand to mouth. And so it's very, very difficult to find a local Ghanaian, most of them, to come out with $20,000, $30,000 that is there. They can just bring it to you and say, okay, um, stuff like that. So even if it's 50, which would be the low end of a two-bedroom, you still have to tie with a monthly mortgage system that maybe if they work at a bank or something like that, maybe they're paying about 600, 700 CDs a month. So calculate out how much it's going to cost you to pay 50,000 if you are paying like literally like $75 a month. It's going to be a long time. It's going to be a long time. So when they say affordable, I don't know really, what they mean by that. They're not giving us a lot of breakdowns. Okay, um, you know, is it free? Is it where they live and then the government subsidize that? Um, or it's just going to be like maybe $5,000, right? But so it's just one of those things. You know, and sometimes you must understand for our team, we always finding ways to figure out how to minimize cost but not sacrifice quality and efficiency. And so we do look around things. And so when sometimes people will be like, hey, Tony, you guys pay for this, or you guys charge for this, but then I saw on the internet that somebody paid for that. It's not the same. It's really not the same. It might look like the same, but it's not the same. And anybody who's an expert in your field in Ghana, those guys, you can't pay them to do a work for that price. They won't do it. They'll walk away. And the reason they walk away is that they know it's only a handful of people that really do this thing very well. And they know that the next guy that is going to come, they really know exactly how it's going to turn out. And these are things that people really are ashamed to talk about, like what goes on in building, because people don't want to feel like maybe they made a bad decision, or they were wrong in certain assumption. They don't, so they keep quiet. And when you talk to them, they give you all these issues, right? So get the best, pay them, build something. Either way, it's going to be expensive. Then you can enjoy it. Then you don't have all these problems. Okay. All right. So what part which is playing behind some of these ideas? Break it down a little bit for me. Affordable house schemes. Not really, not really. So is these affordable homes? You have some the politicians are involved, the government. Maybe they might have some a private phase, just a phase. Um, but you know, affordable is relative. If you have high unemployment and stuff like that, people just don't have the money like that. They really don't, to be do it. So unless maybe they're setting guarantees, grace period, like okay, if they lose the job for a year, they can what do they call it? Forbearance, right? So they can postpone the payment for a year. Then maybe after a year, they can then the house become forfeited. But some of these things are about 2 3 months, right? And things happen. COVID happens, people lose jobs, and next thing you know, it's like you lose that, you lose that. So it's mostly the government, some with private entity, but the chiefs are mostly involved with the land stuff. They're not into no the building aspect. All right, okay. Um, so we talk about rental cost instability, right? Now another thing you have to this thing is very, very important to me. This part is very, very important to me. Is wherever you live, safety, safety. I think safety is one, location is two, price three. That's the order it should be because it's a concern, it's a growing concern, and you have to factor that in. If you are wise, they try to make it seem like Ghana is just a place devoid of certain things. But if you are paying attention, you see things are coming up. So safety where you live becomes, very, very important. And so that also means there's one, and the second one would be like how you build your house and how you put yourself in positions to be able to protect yourself. Is very, very important. So safety, you should consider that. And then you have to look at safety from now and also future. And any place with high unemployment, there's going to be crime. There's just going to be crime. That's the way it is. Okay. Um, all right. Let me see. Take this question. Yeah, 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 yeah. And so, I mean, there's a lot of things that needs to be done. There's a lot of things that needs to be done. The question is whether it's gonna follow through, and even if the government has some subsidized housing, are they going to not eventually move these people and force them to pay? You never know. For me, it's like do everything you can to just get your own. Just get your own. So you're not at the mercy of somebody's policy. Mhm. Yeah. So, and I think the reason why the gated community came as a result of safety. You know, and also at lifestyle. As much as people don't want to admit, they would say, okay, I want to live with certain folks, but I also think too, it's more like they feel a little bit safe in this gated community. But it's kind of like you have to consider not everybody will do. The land prices are some of these gated communities tend to be a little bit more expensive, and and stuff like that. So you gotta. This is something we can talk about on the safety aspect. Where to buy, where to live, what are the challenges you might face, um, and what you should do and not do it, and how you're gonna build your house to protect yourself. Okay? Yeah, yeah. I saw that too. I saw that videos. And it's real. It's real. But um, you got to think about this stuff. I guess I don't want to. I don't want to go to Ghana and feel like I'm unsafe and I got to stay at my house. I don't move like that. I want to be able to go anywhere I want to go. Um, if I need to be there, and so you got to think about other things. You got to think about how you're gonna deal with that things that happen in wager. And Achimota and Tema in those places, right? You got to figure how you're gonna deal with that. So, and this stuff we can't talk about the strategies on. Can't talk about it publicly. But safety is a must. Is really a must. Don't go live there because you got the house for 300 CDs. You're renting it, and so it's good. Well, um, you might have to investigate more crime in the neighborhood. Um, because I don't want to move to a neighborhood. I feel like 8 o'clock, I'm going indoors. No, no, no. I don't roll like that. I come in when I come in, right? And so it's important because if you're not safe, it's gonna affect your quality of life. All right, we're gonna do a few more, maybe a couple more questions, other than that, we're gonna wrap it up. So safety first, where you build safety, location, factor in businesses opportunities, distance to business, access to amenities, hospitals, if the need for emergencies, and stuff like that. And so that's the order: safety, location, then price. Okay, most people just put price first. But how much is your life worth? I'm hoping it's priceless. So then you have to look at what a renter will do, or build ownership. If you do buy, there's a lot of things you need to really, really look into. You get a purchase agreement, that's one thing, but also transfer the land ownership is sometimes a little bit tricky. The person owned the house, but the titles is somebody is a whole different thing. Consultation, please. So, and whether you should buy or build, well, what is the size, looking at your money, your finances, and say, okay, listen, I'm about to retire. I want to be comfortable. I don't want to be financially stressed. There's no reason of building this 8,000 square feet. I can get 3,000 square feet, 4-bedroom suite, and it will do well for me and stuff like that. So I can have more money to enjoy the return. So these discussions are really, really important because you can build these homes, you got to maintain them, and your quality of life has degraded because it costs more to maintain, costs more to paint, costs more to change, because size, right? So you have to really, really factor that in. And then if it's rental, the instability of rental, pricing, and also, some, maintenance issues sometimes, you're at the mercy of the landlord. Some landlords will detect you how many people can come in, when you can come in. Don't stay up late. No, man, we're not kiddies, man. Come on. So get your own, and then and stuff like that. So, yep. And for me, that is my social responsibility. I say if you do YouTube video for money and likes and stuff like that, and you don't have that, then you're gonna be struggling. So, for me, is there's a responsibility, even if one person is listening to you, to give them the best of what you have experienced, what you think, the ideas, and if something changes, you come and correct that. And so for me, and that is how I'm looking at it. The safety thing is serious. It's really, really serious. Okay, so factor that into whatever you do. Okay. All right. Other than that, do a quick wrap up. Thank you, Emilia, for joining, and D, Eve, always appreciate it. Jeremiah, thank you for also watching the other channel. You know how to reach out to me, Ima. You are late, and so you know where to reach out to me. It's you can go to our website, www.royalconsultingsolutions.com, or royalconsultingsolutions@gmail.com, and then we can start talking and figure it out how you go and create your own dream and live the best life that you could ever have, which I think you can do anywhere. But I think Africa offered a little bit spice to it, but then do it in big, do it in style, and do it well. And so, life is a beautiful thing, not to leave the best of it, right? So, and that is what I will wish for you guys. Other than that, thank you everyone for taking the time to join me on Saturday. Subscribe to our Bravo podcast, Wednesday, um, and Fridays. So you didn't see a video of the project because you ran out of money, so you save more and stuff like that. So, and I've expanded some things, so I'll get to it sometime next year, and bring you some updates. But other than that, we have projects that we are doing, still exploring business opportunity, looking at lands and all that stuff, keeping our eyes on the ground to see what are some of the opportunities that we can get into, and also listen, hey, raise a stake and leave an incredible legacy. All right. Thank you. Have a good rest of your day and have an awesome weekend.